Hey, what's up guys? Barry B. Benson 2 here, back again with another video. So, I redid the intro, so like animation or whatever, so I hope you liked it. Comment down below if you liked it. Anyways, for today's video, we're gonna do an iceberg. So, recently, I posted a poll to my community tab. Make sure to check my community tab because I post like polls all the time because like, it's fun to do. So anyways, posted a poll being like, yo, what iceberg do you want me to do next? And there were like 3 iceberg options, and then there was an option that was like, do some videos before the icebergs. And the option, do some videos before the icebergs, won, which would explain why this video is coming out like a week after I posted that poll, probably longer. And the only reason why that one won is because I'm guessing it's because I hinted at new diss track. Yeah. Anyways, for today's video, we're gonna do the last iceberg I expected to win out of all the iceberg options. So that would be the Baldi's Basics iceberg. So you might be thinking, why was this the last one you expected to win? Because it's the 2 other icebergs were Cuphead and Among Us. And I had a feeling that Baldi would take last because either people would actually want Cuphead, and also I told Deadly Mouse about that, and he made like a 40-minute video about Cuphead. So I would say he likes it like just a little bit. And Among Us, which I also thought might win because funny meme. But Baldi's Basics won. I'm not complaining. I like Baldi better than Among Us and Cuphead. Just so you guys know, though, Among Us and Cuphead are going to happen, most likely next. So, yeah. Let's just get into the Baldi iceberg. Make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah. I gotta do that. I'm sorry. Baldi's Basics Classic Edition Remastered. Baldi's Basics Classic Edition Remastered is the currently, at the time of this video, newest Baldi's Basics game. It's basically a remastered version of the original Baldi's Basics and Birthday Bash, basically remade in the Baldi's Basics Plus engine. Anyways, in the game, you can play through 3 modes: original classic style, which is basically just the original game; birthday style, which is basically just Birthday Bash; and demo style, which is basically like a nice sweet taste of what you can get in Baldi's Basics Plus. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, basically it's pretty nice, and it offers a ton of new sweet lore. So good. Anyways, you can unlock some modes like hard mode, lights out mode, stuff like that. Pretty neat. You can also unlock null mode, which is pretty cool. And we'll talk more about some stuff in this game later down in the iceberg. So yeah. You can cut first prize's wires with safety scissors. Pretty simple. You can use safety scissors to cut first prize's wires and make him not move for a little bit. Not a lot of people really know this, probably because there's no real point in this, because first prize usually helps you, and like everyone just uses the safety scissors to get rid of playtime because she's way more annoying. You can think pad codes. So this entry is referring to the fact that in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition and in Classic Edition Remastered, you can put some specific like number combinations into the you can think pad answer thing, and special things will happen. Now I don't know the combination because like they're really long, but some of them are on screen. Anyways, in Classic Edition, basically there's two. One that allows you to like stick to the ceiling, which is meant to be a reference to something called Goo Shoes. And the other one takes you to the Baldi's Basics test room, or at least the first test room ever made, which has Placeface in it, which we'll talk about him later. Anyways, as for Classic Edition Remastered, there's quite a few of them. However, two of them include one that, what's it called? Lets you no clip, and another one that just like allows you to go into a debug menu kinda and let you get any items you want. That's pretty cool. But as far as I know, the item one was removed. You can look up them if you want to, by the way. Clay Baldi. So this entry is referring to all the videos on YouTube that like show people building Baldi's Basics characters out of clay, and they're pretty cool. It's essentially if instead of drawing, Logan Pro Arts made clay videos, and instead of making a video in like 3 seconds, put actual effort into their videos. So like something that will never happen. One PR Bangin' is an unused thing for Baldi's Basics Classic Edition, where originally, if first prize were to hit into a wall with a window on it, he would have broken it down. So any character could walk through this. This was cut for unknown reasons. However, it was re-added in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition Remastered. 99. 99 is a death screen that's only in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition that has a 1 in 99 chance of happening. Basically, all it is a picture of what looks to be the number 99 written in the color cyan on an orange background, poorly cropped. The picture then zooms in with the screen turning tinted red with a weird noise playing, and then the game crashes. Along with this, 99 is just spread all over the game, including a chalkboard that we'll talk about later. And like every room number is 99, and like in the old field trip demo with the forest, like one of the trees says 99 on it. It's not really known why Mistman just put 99 all over the place. Well, that's it for layer 1. Who's ready for layer 2? Test Dithered. Test Dithered is a guy who appears in Birthday Bash, but as far as I can tell, he also appears in Classic Edition Remastered. If you couldn't tell, he's the Test is severed head. Whenever you walk up to him, he yells, "Can the parrot sound like me?" And that's really it. If it wasn't obvious enough, he probably just tests dithering. Creepy ambiance. So this entry is referring to all the creepy ass ambiance that's in the game. Like there's a lot of it. The most well known one is probably the cafeteria sound where it's like, you know what I mean? And there's also like this one that sounds like a car. And the creepiest one for me is the one where it sounds like heavy breathing. I used to think that like this would signify Baldi being right behind you. So that always like scared me whenever I heard it, whenever I was playing the game. Plus placeholder textures. So this entry is referring to the fact that due to Baldi's Basics Plus being like incomplete currently, there are obviously placeholders not only in the game but also in the files. For example, the door that just says door on it, and the blue, green, and red walls and ceilings. Not only this, there's also the pictures in the files, like those coffee beans, Eiffel Tower at night, and also like the warning symbols. Divided by. So this entry is referring to an unused voice line for Baldi that was going to be in Classic Edition. Now, Baldi can say multiplied, and there's also adding and subtracting problems, and he can say multiplied during the impossible question. So this audio was probably not going to be used for division problems like how some people assumed, and was probably just going to be a possible thing Baldi could have said in the impossible problem. Johnny's cough. So whenever you're in Johnny's shop, for some reason, just randomly, you can hear this really loud and long cough sound. It will just randomly play, and for some reason, despite it being Johnny coughing, he has no lip syncing for it, which is really weird. Secret endings. So, for this entry, I'm just going to go through all the secret endings, and I don't feel like putting Baldi's Basics related video in the background, so I'll just put something random up. Anyways, what this entry is referring to is all the secret endings. For Baldi's Basics Classic Edition, you just get to go to Baldi's office, and we'll talk more on the secret endings later, so I'm just going to give you a general summarization. You get to go to Baldi's office. For the field trip demos and Plus, at least as far as I can tell, there aren't really any secret endings. Aside from one for Plus. If you use the seed 99, then you'll get a secret after the normal ending with some like guy who we'll talk about later, where it's like an error screen saying that like there's something wrong with seed 99. And then lastly, for Classic Edition Remastered, there's the ending where you go in the basement, and there's also the ending wherever you go to the creator's office. So, very interesting. Slingshot. So, we'll come back to this entry later, but to put it simply right now, to not spoil what we're going to talk about this later. Basically, for a while, because of an audio file, people thought that in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition, instead of using the bee soda, you would have used a slingshot. Joe. Now, if I see a single fucking Joe Mama comment, I'm gonna be pissed. So anyways, what this entry is referring to is one of Mistman, the creator of Baldi's older characters named Joe, who will start in a virtual pinball game called Joe's Ultimate Bus Ride, which is currently on hold. He's been name dropped a couple times in Baldi, most notably being the fact that his bus, Baldi, like, defaced it. Due to this, people believe that Baldi might have killed Joe, but there has not been any confirmation yet. Spoop balloons. So this entry is referring to these guys who appear at the end of Birthday Bash called Spoop balloons. They look like Baldi, but like different colors. There's red, green, purple, and orange, if I remember correctly. So anyways, basically they just kind of sit around, and after you count them all up and get the last three notebooks, and then put in the balloon codes, a crap ton of red ones show up, and then they just kind of like flood the place in Birthday Bash. But in Classic Edition Remastered, they literally like rip the place to shreds. It's crazy. Since then, they haven't really been explained, and they also appear in like hard mode of null mode, if I remember correctly, in Classic Edition Remastered, where you have to fight one of the glitched red ones. I'm animating. Just watch this video.
I'm animating. I'm a pro.
This program is a cancer. This phrase, I guess you could call it, is put on a chalkboard that's out of bounds in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition. If you walk out there, it's just a chalkboard that says it, but for some reason there's a ton of 99s all around it. Arts and crafters can randomly attack you. So this entry is referring to the fact that in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition, despite arts and crafters like being coded to only attack you whenever you're at 7 notebooks, there are videos and things showing him attacking people as early as 4 notebooks for really no reason. I've also heard some people say that this happens in Baldi's Basics Plus, however I can't find any evidence of that. The pre-Kickstarter demo. So this entry is referring to the pre-Kickstarter demo, which was the field trip demo that came out, I think, a couple days, I might be wrong on that, before the Baldi's Basics Plus Kickstarter came out. The reason why this is on the Iceberg is mainly because it has since been deleted, because the Kickstarter page and the page for the demo before the Kickstarter came out have been deleted. Apparently some guy did say that he's archived it, however he's afraid to release it because he thinks Mistman might try to make him take it down. Bad Sum. So Bad Sum is a character who appears in Baldi's Basics. Bad Sum is a character in Baldi's Basics. He appears in Baldi's Basics Plus, and he's an anti-piracy screen. And he basically sets off if you're playing a pirated version of the game. He also will appear on your screen if your save file gets corrupted. 2016 Baldi voice line. So, this is referring to the fact that in 2016, Mistman was actually going to start work on Baldi's Basics using a different software than Unity, a software called Smile Basics used to make 3DS games. In preparation, he not only made a couple wall and ceiling textures, he also recorded a intro voice line for Baldi. However, after this, he scrapped the game, only to then work on it for the game jam and turn it into the game we all know. Here's the voice line that he recorded in 2016.
Welcome to Baldi's Basics and Education and Learning. You'll have lots of fun here, I just know it. Make sure you get good grades, otherwise, well, let's just say
versions before 1.2. This entry is referring to the fact that there are many versions of Baldi's Basics Classic Edition made before 1.2, which is the one that was released for the Game Jam. Anyways, they are on the internet and you can download them. However, they are kind of hard to find. If you do find them, just know they are pretty glitchy. A lot of versions after 1.1 are really glitchy. And yeah, that's really it. Place Face. This entry is referring to Place Face, who is this guy on screen. He appears in quite a bit of Baldi stuff. He appears in Classic Edition, where if you put in one of the special codes we talked about earlier, you'll get taken to the test room, and he's in there. There's actually 2 of them. One of them follows you around, and the other one just kind of sits there and does nothing. He also appears in Birthday Bash, where you can just see him chilling in a room with like 30 play times in the second floor of the schoolhouse. And he also appears in the camping demo, where you can walk behind the school and see a door with him behind it with a ton of no signs around it. As far as we know, he's not in Plus, so who knows? No eating in the halls was removed despite it being against the rules. This is referring to the fact that in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition, whenever the principal catches you eating the Zesty bar, he's like, no eating in the halls. However, for some reason, in an update, that audio of him saying that was removed from the game. Despite that, he'll still get mad at you and give you detention. He just won't say anything. He'll just see you eat it and then pull up and be like, yo, you got detention! Disky 0000. Disky 000. Yes, I'm going to cut off one of the zeros because it saves us a little bit of time, slightly. Anyways, he's a character who appears in Birthday Bash, but he doesn't appear in Classic Edition Remastered for some reason. He's a character who's like an image on the wall. And whenever you put in the balloon codes, a door opens and he's just there, and then all the corrupted red Baldi spook balloons just flood the place. He looks like Baldi, but he wears a light blue shirt and he looks glitched out. Looks like Bad Some, but with a lighter shirt. So, yeah. Blander. Blander is a character who appears in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition Remastered. So, if you put in certain codes on the You Can Think pad, which we talked about earlier, if you put in a certain code, you can no clip through walls, which we'll come back to this later, by the way. Anyways, whenever you're on the normal Schoolhouse Classic mode, if you go around no clipping, you can find a hidden room that you usually can't enter. Whenever you walk in there, there's 2 chalkboards on the wall. One of them says the name of the game that Blander's from, which as far as I know is actually just a joke. And we'll get to the other one in a second. And Blander just kind of stands behind you. He looks like Baldi, but taller and with like a squished head and a really big nose and a pink shirt. And his ruler looks more like a yardstick. Anyways, Blander's meant to be like a parody of bootleg Baldi games on like the App Store. And on the wall, like the chalkboard that I said we would talk about in a second, time to talk about it. I don't remember exactly what it says, but it says something like, don't make bootleg Baldi games for the App Store or else we'll trap you in our schoolhouse. Basically saying that Baldi kidnaps bootleg Baldi's Basics characters. This is probably just Mistman making a jab at the people who make bootleg Baldi games on the App Store. No stabbing people with pencils in the halls. This entry is referring to the fact that Baldi's Basics Classic Edition, there's an unused principal voice line of him saying, "No stabbing people with pencils in the halls." So, yeah. Obviously, this means there was originally going to be a pencil item where you could stab people. It's unknown why it was cut, but my guess is that probably because the most effective opponent to stab, Baldi, would be kind of pointless, because if you ran up to him, he could just kill you. According to Mistman, he says that this mechanic won't be coming back in any Baldi stuff. But then again, he also said that about opening lockers, but then we ended up getting the ability to hide in lockers in Baldi's Basics Plus. So who knows, maybe the pencils will come back. Ball spelling. So, do you guys remember how the unused subjects entry? I said we were going to come back to that. Now it's time. Basically, Miss Man worked on one other subject other than math, spelling. And what this is referring to is the part that he worked on, which was the intro. And that's the only thing he got done, Baldi's little intro. He would have stated, "I hope you like bees because it's time for spelling. Answer the 3 questions correctly and you might get something special." Revenge of the Crazy Baby. So this entry is referring to the fact that Mistman, he used to make games on a software called the Petite Computer. Now, as far as I know, I didn't do too much research into Petite Computer as a whole, so I don't really know if this is like a actual brand of computer or if this is like a computer software used to make games or something. Comment down below which one it is, so that I know. Anyways, Mistman used to make Petite Computer games. One of the games he made was called Crazy Baby, where you play as a guy and you shoot a giant baby head. So, there's another game he made called Revenge of the Crazy Baby, which is basically the same thing, but it's the sequel. Now, this game is kind of weird. Just kind of fight a baby and then you win. There's like a hard mode and that's really it. As far as I know, no one's figured out how to play the original game, and you can play the Revenge of the Crazy Baby game, but there's the certain way you have to get it is actually illegal. So there is technically no legal way to play Revenge of the Crazy Baby. Gotta sweep design change. So this entry would be higher, but I see no one mention this, and I noticed this immediately, but whatever. So basically, Gotta Sweep's design was actually changed in one of the Baldi's Basics updates. Excuse me. In this update, it just did some bug fixes and it changed Gotta Sweep's design. Specifically his bristles. In his old design, his bristles, one side was green and the other side was gray. In the new redesign, his bristles are just all black. Now, in my opinion, I personally like the original design. I actually have a real life Gotta Sweep. Speaking of which, it's not really known why Mistman, changed Gotta Sweep's design. But I think it's kind of obvious. Gotta Sweep's design is based on a real-life broom brand. And because of this, since Baldi's Basics Plus is a paid-for game, and Mistman was probably working on this game with that in mind, he probably realized that he couldn't sell the game without getting sued. So he just changed Gotta Sweep's design slightly. Playtime in the secret ending. So you're gonna have to take my word on this entry. I have seen this before, but I can't find any screenshots on the interwebs. And I'm too lazy to take my own. So basically this is referring to the fact that playtime does appear in some secret endings. The obvious one is in Birthday Bash. You can see like 30 playtimes chilling in a room with some spook balloons and place face. But what this is mainly referring to is that playtime actually appears in the secret ending of the base game, where you can find her out of bounds, but she's like invisible. She's probably just there for like testing reasons. 0th Prize. So 0th Prize is a character who appears in Birthday Bash. He's just kind of at the end of a hallway and does nothing. The reason why he's so far down is actually the story behind him. He was actually a prototype designed for Gotta Sweet, and he's based on Paulette Red Sun's animations. Fun fact, It's a Bully's voice is also based on one of Paulette Red Sun's animations. We'll come back to this later. Baldi Number Button's voice line. This is just referring to a cut voice line that was going to be a part of Baldi's intro. That would have explained how the keypad on the side of the You Can Think pad works. Baldi Clones Theory. So this is referring to a theory started by the YouTuber 8-Bit Ryan. This theory, to give you the general gist, basically is that the spook balloons, like they're making clones of Baldi, and the spook balloons are defect clones of him. That's the easiest way I can describe it. If you want to figure out more, just go watch his video series on Baldi's Basics Classic Edition Remastered. Elephant Hit. Now, before you get all hyped up, just gonna bring you down right now. No, this isn't like some Easter egg in the field trip demo where Baldi hits an elephant with his bus or something. And no, this isn't like some Baldi's Basics mod with elephants. This is just referring to a sound effect that plays in the test room that Place Face is in Baldi's Basics Classic Edition. It's literally just this.
Elephant hit.
Over 9 notebooks. So, in Baldi's Basics Plus, the max amount of notebooks you can get on a level seed is 9 notebooks. Well, at least that's what's intended. There's a glitch found where, as far as I can know, up to at least 11 notebooks can spawn on certain seeds. Mistman will probably patch this out at some point, or he may even add it to the base game as like an intended thing. That would be cool. Slingshot.mech. So you guys remember on the entry about the slingshot item? I said we would come back to it later. Well, now it's time. Well, basically, it was debunked that the slingshot was never going to be an item. And here's how it was debunked. This sound effect, called slingshot.mech, is what led people to think that the slingshot was going to be an item. But not only did Mistman say otherwise, it was soon after this rumor started found that this sound effect is used in the game. It's the sound used whenever hitting one of the exits. Do you remember Joe and how he's from like a pinball game? Well, this is apparently a sound effect from like a test build of one of Joe's pinball games. Well, it's finally time. We're going to the final layer, baby. I'm a CGI pro now. I'm a CGI pro now is a video that Mistman made that has since been unlisted. It's about Place Face, and if you're wondering, in the video his mouth basically moves like he's talking, but he doesn't say anything, and then he just kind of glitches out. It's unknown why this video was made and why Mistman decided to unlist it. It predates Baldi's Basics by quite a bit because it was made in 2015, almost 4 years before the game. The only other thing to mention is that on the original upload, the description says, "I should work at Pixar." Deleted Baldi's Basics field trip demo. The principal apparition. So, for this next entry, I hit up Deadly Mouse. I was like, yo, you want to do a part on my new Iceberg? He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So, here's his part. By the way, sorry if, his quality is bad. He's currently in the hospital. Not because he got hurt, but for other stuff. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't think he would like me to talk about his personal stuff on YouTube. But whatever.
So this entry is talking about the ghost principle, and this theory is about how he goes behind little children and abducts them, and the reason why this is proven is because Jacksepticeye said he was fine with them and showed evidence of so, and this is a joke entry.
So, yeah, he kind of went a little too far there, but whatever, it's a joke entry. Let's just go to the next one already. By the way, if you're wondering why a certain entry I didn't do, even though I'm doing it from right to left, we're saving that one for last. Gotta Sweep was originally going to be a human. This one is basically confirmed, but I'm still going to present it like it's a theory. Basically, some people think that originally Gotta Sweep was going to be a human. The reason why is for two things. One, there's an unused tape recordings, which I don't know if I talked about them earlier, but they were basically anti-disorienting tapes, but instead of making weird noises, they would tell you about one of the characters. And the tape about Gotta Sweep that you can find in the files has specific wording that would indicate that he's a human. And also, obviously, Zeroth Prize is a prototype design for Gotta Sweep. I don't know if it's just me, but he looks pretty humanoid. Lost Baldi's Basics Plus fan demo. So this entry is referring to something kind of obscure. Basically, a fan who heard of Baldi's Basics Plus, he decided that he would make a demo of what he thinks the game would be like based on the trailers and stuff. The fan-made demo was very small, and he said he would update it. Didn't happen. All it was it was a small room with a ton of green tiles around it, with Gotta Sweep standing in the middle. And there was nothing to do but walk around and touch Gotta Sweep, and all that would happen is he would say, "Gotta Sweep, sweep, sweep." And since then, no one can find it. No one knows where it went. The fan never updated it. So it's probably just going to be lost forever. Baldi has fantastic hearing despite having no ears. This entry is just kind of pointing out the fact that one of the main game mechanics is the fact that Baldi has fantastic hearing, but despite that, he has no ears. Look, there's just nothing there. Lost comics. So you guys might remember how earlier in the Iceberg we talked about how Baldi actually originates from a comic series that Mistman wrote when he was a kid, titled Baltimore. This entry is just referring to the fact that Mistman has confirmed on a couple occasions that there are a few Baltimore comics that he remembers. However, he currently can't find. So far they're lost comics. However, hopefully one day he'll find them. However, I find this very unlikely considering they're just pieces of paper stapled together. Pretty easy to lose those kinds of things. city trials. So there's a reason why I kept this entry for last. Okay? Now, let me tell you why. So, city trials is referring to a Smile Basics game that Mistman made. But he didn't actually make it because it turned out to be an April Fool's Day joke. Now, why is this worthy of being the final entry? Well, you guys remember how a little while back we talked about 99 and how I kept saying we were going to come back to it? Well, since this was posted on Miiverse, in the comment section of his Miiverse post confirming this was an April Fool's Day joke was this. This is a comment that someone made of 99 in like a red static room thing. So, considering this was made a little while before Baldi's Basics was made, we can infer that this is most likely where 99 originates from. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this